like they made me do 17 times. Uh, but if not, welcome everybody. Let's see. See if we on this thing or not. All this bending over is terrible for my back, dog. Good Lord. Subscriptions. Okay. So I don't have to do that anymore. Looks like we good. Let me hear how it sounds. What's up with this echo, big dog? Anyway, we are back. NBA is back. Where's my phone? I don't have my phone. I was supposed to send out a link. Give me a second. Give me a second. You know what? I'll just do it from my computer. It ain't no thing. It is not a thing, ladies and germs. Uh, but oh, my phone is somewhere. It's somewhere close there. Oh, here you go, right here. I am a big fool, large fool, gargantuan fool. You know what I'm saying? However you want to describe me in size wise, that's what we is right now. But like I said, I am back. Uh, NBA back, so I had to come back, even though I am in no condition to be in front of anybody's computer doing any manner of movement or anything like that. But dog, you know what I'm saying? I ain't want this channel to disappear into the ether, so I just came back to say what's up to the people, let y'all know where I've been, however many of y'all show up. Uh, just been down terribly physically, the worst I have ever been in my entire life. Like bordering on bed bound for the last like month, at least the last 3 weeks for sure. But like my neck has not been cooperating. I had this like stiffness in my neck. And, I don't know if you guys know anything about neck injuries, but when you suffer one, like your entire like nervous system, depending on where um the injury is and what the injury is and stuff like that, it can affect your whole nervous system because there's a lot of nerves in your neck that connect to your nervous system. They also connect to your eyes and your vision and things like that. So I was just having a rough go of it, just existing as a human being for the last couple of weeks or so. So I'm looking up all these things, trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with me. It's these things called like craniocervical instability and all this other stuff where these things just affect your nervous system and your back and just all kind of things. I don't think I have that necessarily, but a lot of the symptoms were the same. So I was doing a lot of panicking. I got a couple MRIs. My lower back is definitely cooked. I don't know if y'all know what's wrong with Draymond back, but I have the same exact issues as he does in my lower back. L4, L5 disc herniation, L5S1 disc herniation. That's kind of why I can't really sit down. That's not the whole thing, because if it was just a pain tolerance thing, I'd be able to sit down because I can handle some pain. But if there's anything you learn from me today, is that if your body is in pain, don't pride yourself on being good at like working through it and stuff like that. Because what I've learned is over the course of me dealing with all this pain and just it becoming a natural part of my life, is that your body tends to compensate poorly for that kind of stuff. And so what my body is doing is, in order to compensate for the pain that I'm having, it's just a whole lot of tension like in my neck area and in my upper back and stuff like that, because I'm compensating for the deficiencies of my lower back and in my core. And it's just causing a whole lot of issues just throughout my entire body, particularly in my neck, which is just ravaging any type of normal living I can do right now. I haven't worked in God knows how long. I haven't attempted to make a video in since I made the Ingram video. Pretty much that was the last time I felt like respectable, and I didn't even feel good when I made that. But after I did that, I went to physical therapy a couple times, and I was asleep one night. My neck just cracked in the meanest way, and ever since then my life has been pretty awful. But we back. Hopefully we have figured out some things about what's going on. I don't know if y'all know what this thing is. It's a TENS unit. It's been saving my life as far as getting the tension out of my neck and stuff like that, because it's just ever presence and stuff like that. Yeah, see, numbness. Appreciate you sharing that. You know what I'm saying? I got right now I'm using my left hand, even though I always use my left hand, I cannot feel this hand fully. I haven't felt like, because I have a lot of tightness in my shoulders, and I don't know if that's from my neck or whatever it's from, but like it's a lot of tightness here and here. And so like my hand hasn't felt like it's been a part of my body for like 2, 3 weeks at this point. This hand is a little better. It's still not as good as it needs to be, but like all of this stuff is just like I'm just tight all the time. And then like after, like if you just imagine flexing your muscles and like just try to flex your muscles real hard and just try to live like that for like 10 minutes, you'll see like basically what I'm dealing with on a daily basis. But I do hope your wife gets better. I don't think mine was like trauma related. I don't know. But I did, like I said in previous videos, I've done a lot of working out and stuff like that. And I think I have like undealt with injuries that I haven't really like got addressed. Like I said, my discs are herniated in my back, and I think I have an injury in my upper back. I didn't get an MRI on that, but I think there's an injury right here, like back here, from a lot of jump roping that I did. I would jump rope and I would be looking like this way, because like I have mirrors in my basement. If you ever try to look directly head up and down, you know what I'm saying? It's more or less like a dizziness thing. So I would look to the side when I would jump rope, and I think that caused like some kind of disconnect all the way through here. But yeah, I am back. What's up, Jesse? Area, man. You could say I got fit. I was bedbound for the past like 3 weeks or so. So what happened was I was severely underweight, and neck problems also cause a lot of the stomach issues that I'm having. So I'm thinking this is all interrelated. But anyway, what happened was I just started eating. Like I started putting back weight on. Mostly because I was bedbound, and mostly because I just had to, like, I felt like I was dying. I'm like, I need to either eat or figure out what's wrong with my back. So I chose to start eating a little bit more. So my stomach is kind of bad too, but I was able to put some weight back on. I was at like 170 consistently the last time you saw me, and I hadn't been that weight. I don't even think I was that weight in high school. I think that was a middle school weight for me. And now I'm around like 190. So I have gotten a little bit of my weight back on and stuff like that. So I'm actually going to the gastroenterologist on Monday to figure. I just that hand is just not. It's not there, but we'll work through it. But yeah, so that's basically what I've been going through. I've been doing a lot of laying down. I'm trying to get back to making videos. I'm mad that everybody's starting to see that Franz is a hooper. I wanted to make that video like 4 months ago. I know y'all be in this chat, and I'll be telling y'all like, bro, the Franz video is coming. It's coming. If it comes, it comes. I don't know, but everybody know the secret is out now. That boy be getting busy, and everybody's starting to see it. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to lay claim that, you know what I'm saying? I was like, y'all wasn't up on him like I know. I ain't too interested in that, but in terms of content on this channel going forward, I do want to get back, and I will make some longer form videos when I eventually feel up to it. I had this idea to make a little like short form type thing, like maybe to get into the shorts and stuff. I have started a TikTok as well. I haven't started it, but I've made one. it's at Anthony, and I'm hoping to make some shorter form content, because I wanted to build this community and just talk about basketball. We know what I'm saying, of known shooty hoop knowers, you know what I'm saying, 91, you know what's up. I wanted to just build a community of known shooty hoop knowers. And like since the beginning of this channel, I've kind of been physically compromised. I was able to sit down back then and stuff like that, but I've been dealing with this since like before COVID started. It's just gotten progressively worse over time, and it's just trying to figure out what's wrong with me and stuff. I think I've gotten somewhere to just knowing that I don't necessarily have a physical neck injury or things like that, but a lot of the tension caused by the other injuries in my body are gonna just, you know what I'm saying, kind of be hard to deal with until I learn how to properly breathe and stuff like that. Because once you do that, it changes your breathing patterns. It changes the way you hold your core and your body and stuff like that. So I'm holding a lot of tension up here. And until I'm able to release that, then I won't be able to like necessarily be in front of a computer for hours and hours and hours at a time making content. But I can still like watch film and stuff like that. So my idea was just to basically have like a 60 second to 100 second like little breakdown of players throughout the league and stuff like that, and just talk about them, strengths, weaknesses, stuff I see, stuff like that, and just post it just so I can have things on this channel, maybe put it on TikTok, and just try to, you know what I'm saying, keep building this community, because we had a lot of momentum, and then my body just said, all right, bro, no more of that. You ain't never doing this again. You're gonna be a one man RDC. Hey, like for real, that's what I was trying to do. Like when I was younger, before life started life, and you know what I'm saying. I fancy myself a comedian. I think I shared a link in here last time, but the stream was so bad that I wasn't able to properly like share it with y'all. So I'm gonna share it again. Oh, I deleted the stream. That's what it was because the stream was so cooked that I had to just take it down because the audio was broken. And if the audio is messed up on here, please tell me because sometimes I'll be moving and the mic will unplug and I won't know, and the audio will just be sounding. It'll just be the audio from the webcam. But what I will do is I'll share it to y'all my old channel where I used to make like comedy videos. I'll put that in the chat, and y'all could take a little look at that. The only person that used to be willing to get on camera was my mama. So if y'all see my mama in the video, say what's up. Nah, you ain't gotta say that. But a lot of this stuff is just me and my mom playing around, spending time together back in after I sound like Megatron. I'm good. All right, cool. I appreciate that, Jesse. Yeah, man, it's been a long road to recovery. Around like late 2020, no, around late 2021, I had been in physical therapy for like 6 months. I was feeling pretty good. I could pretty much live my life the way I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? I was good. My lower back was messed up at that time, but it wasn't like it would come and go and I could just deal with it. And then I remember, I don't know if y'all remember me getting a new chair. What happened was like that chair was like leaning to the left. No, it's leaning to the right. And like when I was sitting it, the right side would be uneven. And I'm just sitting in it, and then I'm starting to feel this tingling like in my hips and in my pelvis. And I'm like, what's going on? I need a new chair. So I got a new chair. I put it together. I'm standing in front of it. Y'all can't see it on the camera, but I haven't sat in this chair in 4 months. I haven't sat down to eat a meal since at least like mid-August, if not before that. So every meal I've eaten, I've been standing up. Everything I do, I'm standing up. Only time I sit down is to go to the bathroom. And even then I gotta like put my legs up on like a toilet or something so my back can like not have this pressure, because when I sit down, all of that stuff goes up into my neck. I don't know if it's because I tense up or whatever, but I already have the slip disc in L4, L5, L5S1, and then my neck just causes this sensation of like dizziness and I can't focus and stuff like that. I've had nights where I thought I was just going to go to the hospital. Like I thought it was it, bro. Like I can't feel my arms. My legs are real heavy. My breathing is weird because there's a lot of tightness around my chest, and like my vagus nerve is acting crazy. And like my system is just going like I can't see. I still can't really see in the dark. Like all of this stuff that just happens with your neck and all of these nerves around your cranial and stuff like that. Like my head is tingling right now. My throat looks crazy, but we can't even do that. But anyway, I don't want to get into the weeds of all that stuff. I just wanted to give y'all an example of where I've been and stuff like that. I'm here to talk about shooty hoops first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? I've been gone. I ain't been able to bless nobody with no takes that I've been having. But if y'all want to talk about something specific, y'all can ask some questions. I know people probably want to talk about the Wolves. I'm liking what I'm seeing, particularly from my man D'Lo. I'm liking the way that jumper is looking. I got some questions about what Ant been doing this offseason, but we can get into that at another time in another video. Brent Forbes looking like a sniper. Like I like what's going on around the league. We can just talk about whatever y'all want to talk about in general. We can talk about the Lakers. I know it's a couple Lakers fans here. I like what the Kings are doing. I like how they look. I'll talk about the Kings for a second because I've been a known Sacramento Kings unenjoyer. I'm like, bro, y'all are doing just pure nonsense all the time. There's no plan. What I'm looking for on opening night. I'll get back to that in a minute. But let's talk about these Kings for a second. The first thing I want to say about the Kings, first and foremost, I've always thought Mike Brown was a good coach. Like from an X's and O's standpoint, I think he's a coach that gets like how to scheme and like we can see like when he had that staff on the Lakers, he had some of the best basketball minds that we've seen in the NBA, like Steve Clifford, what's the Quinn from what dude from the Jazz? I can't remember his name. Quinn Snyder. Just a couple people that we know that went on to be like successful coaches and stuff like that. So my problem with Mike Brown has never been his ability to actually coach basketball from an X's and O's and a schematic scheme point, which is kind of what the Kings needed. But his problem has always been he's not a great leader of men, right? So like, he has a tendency to like lose the locker room. We saw that with stronger personalities with like Kobe and stuff like that in LA. And also kind of his time kind of wore out with LeBron in Cleveland. But he's always been an excellent basketball coach from an X's and O's standpoint. So I'm liking what I'm seeing, particularly from a team building standpoint from them, because Keegan Murray was a really good pickup for them, even though I think Jaden Ivey might have been a better pickup. I like him too. But Keegan Murray's been playing great basketball so far. And they've gotten guards to supplement the deficiencies that Fox has had that I've talked about before. They need smart guards that can make passes and get buckets at crucial times. And I think Herter and and Monk can kind of get some of that for them in moments where Fox doesn't have it. I still want to see how it looks end of game situations because he still wasn't great in those situations and stuff like that. But I think they're on the path to at least being a play-on team if everything breaks right for them. I also like KZ Okpala. I liked him with the Heat. I didn't like, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't like beating the drum for him to like play or anything, but I thought he had untapped capabilities that he really needed. If he had some guidance, he could be pretty much a terror on the other end of the court and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do going forward and stuff like that. But let me get to your question that you asked. What I'm looking for on opening night? No, nothing. I'm not necessarily looking for opening night. Is always kind of weird. Who we got? Philadelphia and Boston, and then we have Lakers and Warriors. I am interested to see the whole Jordan Poole, Draymond Green scenario, how that plays out, and like just how they'll try to analyze it on the broadcast and stuff like that. But opening night is always like questionable basketball is being played, so I'm not looking for anything particularly crazy. But there hasn't been a lot of movement in 3 of those 4 teams. The only team that I'm concerned about having a slow start is the Lakers because they have a lot of new faces and stuff like that. So these other teams have continuity, so it'll probably be better basketball being played, between them. So I don't think there's going to be too much rust or too much continuity issues, stuff like that. I am interested to see how Brogdon fits on the Celtics because I think this is a more natural fit for him. I think he was miscast as like this lead ball handler guy because I think what a lot of people actually saw was that like the guy that you need to be that lead ball handler guy, like in terms of being a shooter off the dribble and stuff like that, he wasn't necessarily that guy. People were kind of fooled by the 50, 40, 90 that he had in Milwaukee, but a great majority of those looks were catch and shoot looks and stuff like that. And he was kind of eating off of those as opposed to being this off the dribble, creator as a shooter. And we saw when he went to the Pacers that he wasn't really that level of shooter. He had like one good shooting season, but that was the bubble season. So he just wasn't the level of shooter that people thought he was. So I think more of an ancillary role next to more ball dominant wings and stuff like that. I am interested to see if he can kind of get back to just being a better shooter and then facilitating offense for them in that way. I am interested to see how him, White, and Smart kind of coexist because Smart seems to be fancying himself a point guard, which if he wants to say he is one, he can. But offensively, there's better options. I think having the ball in other people's hands in more important moments will probably be better because we see he has a tendency to take the wildest shots you've ever seen in your life. So but that's the team I'm most interested in seeing. I do want to see what Harden looks like. You know what I'm saying? He's allegedly in shape and things of that nature. So I do want to see how locked in him and Embiid are, particularly in the 2-man game. Is Embiid getting any better at being a screener and roller and things like that? I am interested to see all that stuff. Maxey's been playing really well. And I want to see if he has continued growth, not only as a scorer, but as a playmaker, because they still have a deficiency in that area where if it's not Harden doing anything, then you know what I'm saying? A lot of people really overlook the impact Ben Simmons had in that regard, even though he doesn't throw the fanciest passes like he used to throw in summer league and stuff like that. But having somebody that can grab and go and just facilitate easy offense is just very important. Even though he can't shoot to save his life and stuff like that, just having somebody that can push pace and do it like that is another dynamic to your offense as opposed to a Harden who he can push pace, but he's more of a methodical half-court kind of guy. And him and Embiid kind of can get into some take turns type of stuff when that kind of happens. But I'm interested to see that dynamic as well. As far as the Lakers are concerned, of course we have the whole Russell Westbrook situation. But what I'm really interested to see is how the ancillary guys play. I've been really impressed with Lonnie Walker this preseason. I've always known he's had talent and stuff like that. But like, you know what I'm saying, talent in the right situation and stuff like that is kind of what really rules the day. Sorry if I'm looking at my phone. I'm trying to share this link on Instagram. I'm failing miserably because my hand is not cooperating. But Lonnie Walker has really impressed me, particularly as a passer. I didn't know he could pass. No, I haven't skipped voting, ma'am. But I didn't know like he was this adept as a passer. Like, of course, I've seen him throw passes and stuff like that, but he's thrown some passes in pretty much every preseason game that's really impressed me. Skip passes and stuff like that, on time, on target. Passes that I didn't think he would necessarily make consistently due to like just his profile as a player before. And he's really been making some passes that have impressed me. I'm interested to see how him and Reeves can play together. Because I don't know, y'all know how I feel about Austin Reeves. I think he's a great basketball player. He just had a couple strength deficiencies, and he's, you know, his shooting kind of fell off at the end of the season. But I think he's an excellent complementary basketball player, and I think him and Lonnie can not allegedly can fit well next to LeBron and AD. I think having Russ run with the bench unit probably will be the best option for them. I'm not necessarily sure it'll work too great. He's probably going to have a Reeves or a Nunn next to him just to supplement his deficiencies on offense. Because a lot of people made fun of the whole Lakers don't have Nunn thing, but Nunn is a bucket, man. Is having somebody that can get a bucket is very valuable. Like, it's not just something that you just say. But I'm not sharing this link on Instagram. My hand is not here. But yeah, that's what I'm really looking forward to. See, other than that, opening night, I don't think I really have too much. So we can get to something else. I saw them list Ann at 240. Yeah, man, he was out there looking like Zion. He kind of big, and I'm not necessarily sure that's a good or a bad thing so far. But as far as Ant is concerned and his role on the team, like this is it's going back to what I was saying all offseason and portions of last year. My arm is hurting. Portions of last year where he hasn't really shown me that he's going to be a capable primary option as a ball handler, like in any respect. Like people saying his passes have gotten better. I've watched every game. It's pretty much he's driving and he's kicking. He's making direct reads, and he's a little more willing to do that. But he's still catching the ball and surveying and not making quick decisions and not really passing in the way that I think a main ball handler should. And like I said, that's not a problem for me because not everybody has to be that guy. But he's going to be, I think he should try to be more of a 30-point scorer kind of guy than a 25, 6, and 5 kind of guy. I think you'll get more utility out of him just telling him to go get buckets. And the way he's going about getting those buckets is also kind of, his touch at the rim still looks kind of where it was last year. He's still not really drawing fouls at the rate that he needs to. And all of these things are like things that can be fixed. I do like that they appear to be making an effort to get him in the post. And not necessarily the deep post, but I do think he has advantages in the mid post area where he can use his first step quickness and stuff like that. They kind of have to figure out the spacing on offense before it looks anything resembling good. But I think he can get some easier touches by doing they were setting little down screens for him, and he was just ducking in, catching the ball and stuff like that. I think he can have some like 1 to 2 step explosiveness in the mid post area and in the deep post if he gets a small guy on him. But his touch is still not where it needs to be to like punish those things consistently. So he still has to work on that. I think his over-reliance on his left hand is still hurting him quite a bit. He's had a lot of left-hand drives this preseason where he's just like throwing up some silliness. Like when it works, it works. But I don't, like I said in my video, however long ago that was, it's kind of a diminishing return situation with him in that kind of situation. But as far as a guy being 240 that's already had knee problems, if a lot of that strength is in his legs, then it might be okay. But generally you don't want to get heavier if you already have knee problems, but also he might have had deficiencies in his legs that required strength. So it's a wait and see thing for me. I do like that he's attacking in the mid range a little bit more and he's playing a little bit slower. He's still a lot one speed, but I like the way they're trying to implement him into getting buckets in other spots of the court. His off ball movement's been a little bit better. They've been running out a little horns exit thing, and he's like taking the actual drive instead of like catching it and just like jabbing and stuff like that. So I do want to see if he has started to incorporate some more off-ball movement and stuff like that. Let's see. I think he's going to exert a lot of energy on defense. I think so. I hope that's kind of what he does, because I think that will lead to easier bucks for him on the other end. Like I said, a lot of his issues, if he would just get off the ball, he would be creeping. He like I said, he leaves a lot of points on the table, and like it could just be so much simpler if he just got out of the tween I'ma cook this dude mode that he gets in when he catches the ball. So if he gets more off ball, he reduces the load on his knees because he's not having to like explode in certain ways. If he can just get open and have a straight line to the basket as opposed to taking these circuitous routes through his dribble and euro stepping through three people, like that's hard on your knees. And like all of these pull up jumpers and stuff, I don't know, like if you play basketball and you try to like go out there and try to do like 7 pull up jumpers in a row, like that's a taxing move, bro. And like it's hard on your joints, it's hard on all of that. So if he's going to continue to do that, maybe the idea is that he'll shed weight during the season and can still be physically strong. But it's a wait and see thing for me. I think he's going to be a bucket for sure, but I think they need to still tap into the Rudy, setting him off ball screen stuff. I like what they're doing with D'Lo off ball. We'll talk about that later after I answer some of these other questions. But I think this is more of the off ball movement I expected last year. But as we've seen and as things have come out, it's been pretty much obvious that Pat kind of was in the way a little bit last year. And like they said, over the course of the season, he wanted more on-ball responsibility and stuff like that. And if in order for D'Lo to be off ball, I think it would be better if he was off ball next to a big wing initiator as opposed to like a point guard, because they kind of operate in the same spaces. And I think a guy like Kyle Anderson is going to be tremendously beneficial for him, and his off-ball movement has looked a lot sharper so far. He's already one of the best screeners on the team and stuff like that, and I think it's going to be good for him. But we'll talk about that later. Am I buying into the Nuggets being championship caliber? Not necessarily. I don't think their defense is going to be good enough. Jokic is a singularly talented dude, and I put a lot of respect on that man. I am worried about MPJ as a defender still. Jamal Murray, a lot of people like Jamal Murray. He's a good scorer and stuff like that. I still think they need a supplementary ball handler though, because like it's still this thing where I don't think Jamal Murray is that great of a playmaker, and he's a bucket for sure. But I think that they still have they have a lack of playmaking outside of Jokic. That they may need in certain situations to kind of take them over the top. So I'm concerned with the defense. I do want to see how Murray looks just in general, because coming off of ACL is not, so it's not a cakewalk. So like he might not be ready for a certain part of the season. And with the way that the West is, like if you start off slow, I don't think they're going to, but if it happens, if he's not where he needs to be and they start off slow, you can fall behind and just be playing catch up for the rest of the season. So I am interested to see how Murray looks, how MPJ looks if his body holds up. He's a person that has back problems, and I'm a person that's very familiar with him, and those can come and go at any time. So, like, we can't pencil him to be in for the rest of the season or anything like that. I don't wish that on anybody, but it's just the reality of the situation. Why do I keep putting this in my hand? But I don't think they're championship caliber. I think they could still probably be a top 5 seed for sure, but I'm not sure that they're going to be as good as everybody thinks they're going to be. They could potentially be, but it's a wait and see for me. How do I feel about Julius Randle coming into this year? I feel pretty good about him. This preseason he's been pretty much just, he's doing what I wanted him to do as far as he's picking his spots, because he had to be a singularly like offensive guy for the last 3 years, basically. He's basically been shooting a lot of shots that he probably shouldn't be shooting, and making a lot of decisions that you probably don't want a power forward making consistently. And so with the arrival of Brunson, he's been more measured in the way he goes about making plays and stuff, because I don't think he has a lot of pressure on his shoulders to do that now that Brunson is there. So he had like, it was a stat that somebody posted. He had like 13 assists and no turnovers in like going into like the 4th preseason game or something. Then he had a turnover a couple minutes later after it was posted. But he's been playing smarter basketball. And like I said, there's going to always be limitations playing in the Tibbs offense, because he just doesn't draw up good offense. Like, it just is what it is. And getting Julius into the ISO mode and stuff like that reveals the cracks in this game with his jumper and stuff like that. I do think his jumper has looked better this preseason. He's back working with that trainer he was working with, Wallace Caesar, that he was working with the Lakers when he lost all that weight in like a short amount of time. And I've seen them back working together, so maybe physically he might feel a little bit better. He looks strong. Um, we'll just have to see. Um, I do like the way him and Brunson have looked in the minutes that they played together. So I think I'm expecting a better season than last year for sure, because I just don't think he'll be pressing as much. A lot of that was just him feeling a lot of pressure to live up to the contract that he got and stuff like that. And I think once he went through what he went through, all of that stuff kind of washes away. He has help now as in terms of playmaking and creating for others and stuff like that. So I think we'll see a better Julius this year. Uh, you gotta watch some Sabonis film. uh, a lot of the problems with Julius, as far as like his role in an offense and stuff like that, is that he's too big and too small to do certain things. So like to be a Sabonis like level playmaker and stuff like that, you kind of have to be a force in the post like that. Not saying he's not a force in the post, but like in order for him to get buckets down there, he has to work a little bit harder. And so when you have to work like that, it's kind of harder to survey the floor like you need to, because you kind of have to beat opponents with quickness and like decision making. You kind of have to catch people off guard. You can be methodical, but in Julius's case, he's not big enough to shoot over like help that's coming. So if he's going to be an effective post guy, he has to get it and go. And that's how he gets a lot of charges and a lot of turnovers. He got to get it and go. So he can either go through somebody, go around them, and like get it up, as opposed to being a little bit bigger like as a bonus, where you can kind of survey and you can kind of still shoot over people at a better speed. And so um like he can make the reads on the court. I don't have any problem with Julius, but like the way he has to play to be successful, it doesn't lend itself to doing that consistently from the post. And that's where they had a lot of problems last year, where teams would just creep up on him, and then it would just be like you see him trying to go through a sea of arms and like throwing passes over, and like it's like, you know what I'm saying? Get him out in the perimeter where he's in space, where he can go around people and get into people with a head of steam and stuff like that. That's where you're going to get his best work from. Short roll situations. I saw he was working on a floater, like in those Brickley videos. I think that'll be tremendously helpful if he can actually do it in games, because it'll cut down on a lot of the charges. It'll actually make him a credible threat in the roll situation. Even though he was a great finisher in roll situations in LA, he hasn't really done it in a long time. But if he can get that floater incorporated, I think it'll open up the middle of the floor for him, and then the jumper can come back in some respects and stuff like that. I just hope that Tibbs can draw up enough good offense to where they actually get some second side like action while he's in the pick and roll with somebody else, get some weak side screening going on, just to not have the paint so congested. But I don't have a lot of faith that he'll do that. But we'll see. Oh, okay. Well, off ball too, yeah, but that's a function of the offense that they run, like I was saying. Like screening and stuff like that. If you want him to be the off ball kind of guy that he needs to be, like you have to have supplementary guys that can handle the ball, like you know what I mean? So in that scenario, that's where Brunson will help, because like for all of RJ's prowess as a scorer, he's not that guy to where you can just depend on him to like run an offense, and they never played him and Quickly together really enough to where he would be able to be off the ball in those kind of situations and stuff like that. Like I said before, he was that kind of guy his last year in LA and like the year before that, before everybody got injured, where he would be able to set screens for others and like kind of slip actions and stuff like that, and get the ball on duck ends on the baseline and stuff like that, and free people up and just do like the kickbacks and transition and stuff like that to get easy assists for people. Like a lot of that stuff wasn't available in New York because they didn't have necessarily the shooters to run the kickback stuff. They didn't have the playmakers for him to be off ball for any extended periods of time. And the one that they did, they never really played them together. So like a lot of stuff was working against him last year. And I think that the addition of Brunson kind of solves a couple of those things, but I don't want to rely on Brunson being that guy either too often, because I don't think he's a true point guard either. But he'll give them opportunities in which Julius will be able to work off the ball and hopefully get some some good basketball going. Top 5 East and West prediction. I have no idea, brother. We got Bucks. I think Bucks, Celtics, Sixers. Bucks, Celtics, Sixers. Who else? Pardon me. Another thing that happens with having severe neck pain and injuries and stuff like that is your brain is not as quick as it used to be. So I'm not necessarily as quick as I used to be mentally, which is another thing that I had been struggling with. My short-term memory is awful and stuff like that. But Okay, so I'll say Bucks, Celtics, Sixers, Heat, and who's I had a 15. I had a 15 with that. So help me out. Nets. I think the Nets are going to be better than people. I think last year was just a just a terrible situation all around from an on court perspective and off court perspective. I think the additions of Ben Simmons, even though he was fouling like crazy in that Wolves game, I think he's going to be tremendously beneficial for them just in terms of being able to guard the other team's best player and kind of just giving them a fighting chance on that end. Day'Ron Sharp looked okay. I think Cam Thomas looked okay too. I think their ancillary pieces are going to have a little bit of growing up to do, and then they're just going to out talent people on a majority of nights that they're on the floor with them. Whether that'll lead to consistent wins, I don't know. So I think they'll be hovering around the 4th, 5th seed if everybody's healthy. If somebody gets hurt, it's another conversation. But I like what I've seen from Ben. Another person who's back has been absolutely cooked. But I like just the effort he's been playing with. He was defending Giannis really well. And that's just something you need. Like that was a team that had they had a lack of defensive resistance, and they didn't really look together because they weren't like, you know what I'm saying. So I don't necessarily see them depending on like they were depending on Blake Griffin to do the things that they want Ben Simmons to do now. Like, you know what I'm saying, that's a major upgrade. I ain't gonna say in talent because Blake Griffin was extremely talented, but just like physical presence and ability to move on the court. Hopefully that Steve Nash has a little more control of the situation. Like I said last year, I think they just wanted a vibes coach as opposed to a tactician that will really like get into them. Because like we're not going to sit here and act like Steve Nash is one of the best basketball minds we've ever seen, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it will translate to being a coach. But I think he should command a little more respect than he's had. Let's talk about Orlando too. But yeah, so East top 5, Bucks, Heat, Sixers, Celtics, Nets. West top 5, Wolves, Wolves, Warriors. Wolves, Warriors. Do I want to say Nuggets? I think Nuggets would be a top 5 seed. Wolves, Warriors, Nuggets. See, dog, my brain is not working right now. Yeah, they have had a great habit of looking great to begin the last few seasons, but I think just in general that their talent is more complementary. Because even though like Harden was like, you know what I'm saying, a singularly great talent and stuff like that, and him and KD have had some experience playing together, like there's still a thing where they're kind of in the same areas of the court, and they kind of have to get their offense going in similar ways, and it can kind of be a disjointed affair and stuff like that. I think Ben will fit more seamlessly as in being a guy who doesn't necessarily need the ball, who will set screens and stuff like that, and just kind of be in different spots on the floor to kind of, even though it's going to be a little clunky because he can't shoot and stuff like that, I think his ability to push pace and transition and stuff like that will bring an element that they weren't really utilizing as much as they could have. But yeah, back to this. Okay, so it's Wolves, Suns, Warriors, Grizzlies, and Nuggets. I think will be the top 5 seeds. I think I like the way Zion has looked, so I think like 6 and 7 will be like, because I'm not sold on the Mavs yet. They added Christian Wood, stuff like that. I think their run was a little bit like Hawksy from when the Hawks made the Eastern Conference Final. I think it was more akin to that than now maybe I could be wrong about that, and they could be better than the Nuggets and they'll like take over that 5th seed. But I think if they are, I think they'll be a 5th seed. Even though Luka is singularly talented, I think that they lost a lot in Brunson in terms of just efficiency and consistency, because even though Spencer Dinwiddie can kind of do a lot of the same things, he's not nearly as efficient, and he's more volatile like as a play finisher and as a personality. So I think that not necessarily saying he's going to cause any issues in the locker room or anything like that, but I do think that they'll miss the consistency of Brunson, and I think they'll have some defensive issues relying on Wood to be like a consistent presence on defense. Now maybe they play a system that will get the best out of him. That remains to be seen. He's athletic enough to kind of play a more scrambly defense as opposed to being a drop coverage defender, because he has a lot of the same issues that Cat has with decision making and just kind of generally being solid in those kind of situations. But I think they'll be good still. Like if you catch them as a 5th seed, you probably don't want to play them. But I don't know if I think they'll be 6th probably. I don't have a lot of faith in Christian Wood either. But like the talent is undeniable. Maybe Jason Kidd could kind of get something out of him, even though I don't trust Jason Kidd as a person. People tend to gravitate and listen to him for whatever reason. So maybe he'll be able to kind of get something out of him. But as of right now, I don't think he'll be the. I don't think they'll be the fifth seed. I don't know if Wood can be their Looney, man. I was big hating when Looney was cooking in the postseason because I watched D'Lo play with that team and they just didn't have anybody that can do any of that. And like Looney apparently was like a big time hooper before his hips kind of went to hell. I think he's had a lot of the same problems I've had with my body too, which is another thing we can talk about. But Looney apparently was a big time hooper and he was just getting busy. Like once you're a hooper and you know how to play basketball, the other ancillary stuff that you need to do, like get rebounds and know where to be on the court and stuff like that, that Looney does is like easier. And so I think that they benefited tremendously from him kind of just knowing what his role is and just being that guy. If he used to be like a known hooper and he just is a known energy guy now, like that transition is hard for some guys who are really good. But like if you just know how to play basketball, like Looney apparently does, you have the wherewithal and the ability to just get in and mix it up and just be a factor, then you know what I'm saying, you have a tremendously good player. And we'll say losing JJJ. Is JJJ hurt again? I didn't know he was hurt again. But also not really because they've survived without him before. If he is hurt, I haven't been, you know what I'm saying, locked in as I need to be. I have way faith in Whiteside too. And don't worry, Miles, I'll answer the magic question in a minute. But I think they're good enough. Ooh, now that I think about it, they don't have Kyle Anderson anymore either. I gotta think about that, but I think they've been there enough to like where I think they can get through a regular season and like generally be a top 5 seed. I don't know what seed they're gonna be. Like I didn't do those in order or something like that because I think the Wolves can be anywhere as good as the 3rd seed if everything breaks right. But I think they'll be able to survive if he's out. I've like, you know what I'm saying, I've been going through it, so I ain't as totally locked in as I need to be. He's out to January then, because like for every great thing he does, he also got a little bit of bozo in him. So on certain nights where they need serious basketball, he might be, you know what I'm saying. But they, like I said, they're used to it at this point. So if it does affect them, I think the loss of Kyle Anderson will affect them tremendously. Just from what I've seen on the court, like with him as the Wolves, he does a lot of things that you just don't see on the film. Like if you're not on the film, but if you're watching the game as you're watching, like he does a lot of things defensively and just being a general like presence on offense who can just make smart decisions, make smart cuts, make the passes you need him to make. He's surprisingly. Even though he's slow as hell, like he looks competent in transition and stuff like that. Like I wasn't tapped into the Grizzlies like that all throughout their run and stuff like that. Like I watched them and stuff like that. But like I knew he was a good basketball player, but he's like a supreme like glue guy. And like I don't know who they replace him with. And like you getting more Dylan Brooks. You know, it could be a little shaky, but like I said, Ja's so singularly talented. Desmond Bane, I think he might have another leap in him. I think they'll be fine. So. Like I said, top 5 seed. If not, if JJJ proves to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think the Grizzlies are as good as everybody else thinks they are in the first place. But like throughout the course of a regular season, I think they'll be able to just kind of figure it out because I think Taylor Jenkins is a great coach and he'll just kind of figure it out. Oh, getting tight. This man said he had faith in Whiteside. Only thing I had faith in Whiteside was his comedy potential. That's one of the funniest dudes in the world. But as far as the Magic were concerned, where was it at? That's on Isaac in his situation in Orlando. I haven't really been tapped in. I don't know are they not? Is he healthy enough to play? Like I haven't been fully tapped into what's going on. But I just think that I don't know how much longer he has in the NBA just because of the type of person he is. To be completely honest, like he just seems like an extremely unserious person, and like not to disparage anybody's beliefs or anything like that, but he just. He seems a little lost in the sauce, for lack of a better word. The whole, we got to hear both sides of the Central Park 5 situation, stuff like that, and just his general beliefs, his MAGA adjacent type stuff. I don't know how well that's going to rock in the locker rooms. Yeah, like all the people didn't go to his sermon as a pastor and stuff like that. Like I felt bad for him when I first heard it, but then he started talking. I'm like, oh, I see exactly why nobody went to that dude. That dude stinks, like just as a human. So like, you know what I'm saying? In terms of ACL recovery, the fact that it's taken this long, and he's had multiple knee injuries, like I think he could still be a tremendously effective basketball player, like if he's healthy. But like at a certain point, it's like, do you want to deal with that? Like, you know what I mean? Past a certain point, because he wasn't particularly a great offensive player or anything like that. Like you can find other defensive specialists that can kind of do the same thing he does, not nearly at the level he does it, because he was like a generationally talented like defensive player. But like, is it worth it? I think they have a good thing going with the young guys they got in Orlando. Do you want that dude in your locker room trying to tell you that that evolution ain't real? Like, I don't know what he would be in that locker room doing. And do you want him around your young people? I don't know. Because I think they got a good core going with Franz and Banchero. I think they're a point guard away from being actually a good basketball team sooner rather than later. And so, like, I don't know if you want that dude, like, anywhere around your squad, but he could still be a helpful basketball player, but, you know, the risk might not be worth the reward, if you ask me. Who's my all-comedy starting five? I'm not really a ranker like that. Like, I don't really think about it. Of course, you got Chappelle, even though he been being a bozo for the past however long. I think Chappelle, Burr, I would say like Eddie Murphy. I'm not necessarily old enough to be like, yeah, I was up on all the Eddie Murphy, but I'll put Eddie in there. Chappelle, Burr, Eddie, Pryor. Even though I said I wasn't old enough for Eddie, I've seen pretty much all the Richard Pryor stuff. Like, and it's just undeniable. And Carlin, I think that's my five. I wish 2K could incorporate his evangelism into the game. I haven't played 2K. The last time I played 2K is actually on this channel. That's the last time I played it. Whatever my last post of me rapping and playing 2K, that's the last time I played 2K like ever. Because the only time I would really, because I was in law school. I don't know if I was still in law school back then. I think I was out of law school. But the only time I really played 2K and or rap for that matter was when I would boot up the system and like make my videos. Like a lot of people thought some freestyling was just something I did. Nah, dude, I just did that. I started doing that when I started making those videos. I was a rapper before then, like a rapper. That's why I have this microphone. You can't, if you can see it. I just would rap on that, but I never was like a freestyler or anything like that. So I like a lot of that stuff was just for me, one, to alleviate stress, and two, I don't know if anybody has gone to law school, but they have this thing called the Socratic method, and just being caught off guard if you haven't read something and they call on you, you have to kind of tell them what the case was about and like the holdings and like what you think about the case, stuff like that. It's a very nerve-wracking experience, and so like to relieve the stress from that and kind of get used to being caught off guard and like in being in those situations on a daily, that was kind of my outlet to do stuff like that. So that's what the purpose of that channel was. Even though I thought it was a novel idea, I should have had way more subscribers, but you know, that's neither here nor there. My bars was pretty much, you know what I'm saying, they was pretty good, you know what I'm saying, for a person that didn't really traffic in freestyling. But you know, we ain't gonna toot our own horn too much. But you know what I'm saying? That's the last time I played 2K, long or the short of it. So what I was gonna say is apparently they have a lot of in-game like missions and stuff that don't have anything to do with basketball on there. So like I can see a world where they could do like incorporate that Jonathan Isaac, have him come up, be a rival or something, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't know, you know what I'm saying? You gotta miss these free throws, you gotta recite John 17:30. I don't know nothing about the Bible like that. I'm not a church person. Oh, comedians among the players. If you want me to give top 5 basketball comedians, Whiteside for sure. D-Lo, before the media got to him, was secretly comedy, bro. Like, he was one of the funniest dudes. I'm mad that he kind of had to go through what he went through, because that dude is hilarious. Like, just in the general stuff he was doing, of course, that led to the Nick Young situation where he thought he was funnier than he was, and he was on camera, like, asking him the questions, even though the theory is that there was a third person in the room recording that, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to put anybody out there. But I thought he was hilarious. JaVale be killing me, dog. JaVale is comedy. DeAndre Jordan is funny too. Who else? That's 4. I can't think of the other one. I think I'm gonna just go with the 4 for now. Let me see. Steph is quietly hilarious, even though he don't really he don't talk that much, but he's kind of Kawhi. Kawhi is the fifth one. What am I talking about? It's obviously Kawhi. So it's Whiteside, D'Lo, Kawhi. Oh, Ant is in there too. Shit, Ant too. I might have to have a six. I don't even remember the five I just told you, but whatever I just said is that and Ant. John Moran is nowhere on that list. He will never be on that list. Oh, Giannis is comedy too, dog. Oh my god, those dad jokes he was telling was killing me, dog. He was. Giannis is funny, man. That smoothie tweet is still one of the greatest tweets of all time. Shit, is Terry Rozier, Youngstown legend Terry Rozier with the Osama bin Laden tweet? That's one of the funniest tweets ever quoted. It's a lot of funny people, dog. So like, I don't know. I might have to extend that to a top 10. But yeah, Giannis is in there for sure. Like I said, Kawhi is in there for sure. So yeah. I don't know how long this is, but I've 91. I got Giannis, dog. Don't worry. Let's see. At quick time event where you have to avoid Jonathan Eisen carrying a Bible. Oh my god, he I wonder if he was on Florida State like doing like in the what do they call those things? The student center, just trying to hold court, and people just like, nigga, you don't get out of here and go shoot a jumper. I can definitely see him being KD. See what I'm saying, dog? It's too many people. KD's hilarious. The thing with KD is so weird, bro, because like if I was rich like that, I wouldn't say that I would be like KD on Twitter, because I'm not like that now, even though I could probably cook a lot of people on Twitter. But the idea that he just supposed to let people say whatever the hell they want to, like, and just not have a response is just the most wildly ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, of course he's gotten cooked a couple times by the Dragonfly Jones fella. He could have came back with some heat about the WNBA tweets that brother used to put out, but that's neither here nor there. But he probably was just caught off guard. But yeah, he be cooking people on Twitter. The look at you emotional tweets be killing me every time he send them. Like, that's a funny dude too. So like, it's a lot of funny dudes in the NBA, man, and I'm glad that they're allowed to actually be funny people. You know what I'm saying? It's not, we don't have robots and stuff like that that's representing the sport. Like, you know what I'm saying? That tweet about setting himself on fire on camera. That Scarlett Johansson tweet was nasty business. Like, his old pictures that he was taking on Instagram used to be cooking me when people would bring them up, man. It's just he got a lot of funny moments. And I hope that he continues to do that, even though people be being weird about it on Twitter. What time is it? 7:05. If y'all got anything else y'all want to talk about, my arm is kind of hurting, but you know what I'm saying, I'll be here for a couple more minutes. The game started at 7:30, so if we got anything else y'all want to chop it up about, we can do that. I'm trying, Jennifer. I wonder what that lady doing now. You know what I'm saying? Because they was trying. Didn't they make the playoffs that year? I think they did. I'm quite sure they did, actually. Is that the year they went to the Western Conference Finals? I don't remember specifically. I think I was in law school back then, so that's kind of a haze of a time. But that was a great one. He trying to set himself up to be TV man after it. I don't know if y'all saw that Charles Barkley just got that mega deal. I'm like, y'all giving him a 10-year deal? You sure that we're gonna be having basketball TV in 10 years? Like, I think it was some kind of thing where if TNT is still have the basketball rights in 10 years, then he'll be on there. But if they don't, then he can probably like get out of it or retire or whatever. But like, basketball rights is coming up. I don't know if they're gonna give them back to TNT. They you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a good product in terms of like the announcers they have. Iron Eagle be in his bag, stuff like that. The Pels do look good. Brandon Ingram looks surprisingly bigger somehow. Like, he looked like he put a little weight on. I don't know if Zion did a fat transfer and gave him some of the Ingram juice, but I like the way they had some sets that I like that got him the ball in positions that we talked about in that video. Like, they have a little more creative screening action now to get him kind of getting it in there. So it looks like he's going to have another strong year. Him and Zion hopefully can get some magic happening. They could be a sneaky top 5. I don't think they're going to be, but they could be if Herb Jones takes another leap. And CJ is locked in defensively. I think they can make some things happen. How do I feel like? Oh, Jaylen Brown had a tweet. I don't know if anybody saw it yesterday. Not yesterday. It was a couple days ago. Was it the same day as the Alex Jones verdict? I don't remember, but he had a tweet. No, it was about the COVID vaccine, and like it was some. He had a weird tweet about the COVID vaccine. He got like Kyrie like tendencies. So like I am worried that that he kind of can lead down the road. There's a lot of these. It's a lot of issues with these our brothers and sisters in the black community that fancy themselves free thinkers. Like free thinking don't mean that you just listen to people that's not saying what everybody else is saying. Sometimes people are saying general consensus things because it's correct. You know what I'm saying? Like, and once you get into that mode of you know better than other people and you kind of stop verifying your sources and stuff like that, we have a lot of issues with fact checking and just running loose on the internet and just getting in this echo chamber of people who don't know what they're talking about. And like a lot of people are susceptible to that, and they've said that he's a smart guy. And the problem is when people think they're smarter than everybody else, like being a contrarian kind of becomes part of their personality, and they don't even realize they're being a contrarian anymore. It's kind of just they think that it's the truth, and like he has a lot of tendencies, from what I've heard, to kind of actually have that happen to him. I hope it doesn't. I hope somebody gets to him, you know, a little sooner than later. But you know what I'm saying. I don't know, but he's signing with Ye. Ye is off the deep end. I haven't taken him serious. I've never really taken him serious, like as a person, as a musician. I've always thought he was a great musician and stuff like that. People would be calling him a genius, and I would have to qualify. I'm like, you're saying he's a music genius, right? I agree with that, but a genius? Absolutely not. Not even close. But I don't want to be here disparaging people, even though he was saying some wild shit. But I shouldn't be swearing on here. This is YouTube. But yeah, so like. I hope Jalen gets it together. If they start falling off, I do hope Tatum makes his way to the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? That brother Jalen need to be worried about his handle and not about whether or not the vaccine was fake. Let's see. How do I feel about the all 6'9" roster of the Raptors? The Raptors gonna make it do what it do regardless. You know what I'm saying? I hope Scotty Barnes has another. I don't know if y'all can hear that on the mic. My bad if y'all can't. But I hope Scotty Barnes has another, you know what I'm saying, step that he can take it. Because I think they still have a playmaking deficiency. Even though people like Fred VanVleet, he does what he does, I don't think he's necessarily the kind of, I don't think you want him to be your lead guard. Like, and I think they were trying to get OG to be like this on-ball guy, and I would see him like just generally struggle with like that kind. I'm like, the leap y'all expecting him to take, he's not going to take. It is, some people just don't. He's not going to be that guy. That's fine. Siakam, we saw he has a little bit of the Julius Randle issue. I think Julius is a wildly better ball handler than him, but like just in general, like when defenses are loading up on you and you're that big, you have to be kind of a generationally strong or tall person to kind of like get through them like a Giannis to do it. Or like athletically, you have to be a LeBron to kind of get up and over defenses. Otherwise, you're going to have problems getting through defenses the way they're going to guard you, particularly if you can't shoot off the dribble that well. Pascal's gotten better at it. He was a catch and shoot guy. It was kind of the Brogdon thing that I talked about earlier. He would stand in the corner with his hands and he would be able to shoot in those positions. He's gotten better as an off the dribble shooter. So, if he's taking that leap as an off-ball shooter, then maybe, you know what I'm saying, you can just run offense through him for stretches at a time. You don't really need to worry about playmaking as much in those scenarios. But I think they're going to be the Raptors like they always are. They're going to defend their asses off, and they're going to generally be annoying to play. You know what I'm saying? I like Kim Birch on defense, stuff like that. Like, I think they have some talent. So I think they could be a sneaky, you know what I'm saying, 6, and you don't want to play them kind of team, but we'll see. Thought y'all want to see. Hold on. How did the Pels have Drew and Lonzo and be bad on defense? Like, who was their coach? Was Van Gundy their coach back then? Like scheming matters, man. Defensive scheming matters, and like you can have all the. Because I thought they were going to be good on defense too. No, was it Gentry? I think Gentry was their coach. I said Van Gundy. Gentry. He's never been a particularly adept defensive mind for what it's worth. But yeah, just like having the right personnel and scheme goes a long way into having a good defense. And you can have all the ball stoppers you want in the world and stuff like that. But if you don't have the correct tendencies as players, like you kind of get into this thing where people are trying to do everything themselves. And so like getting up into the ball and trying to like, you know what I'm saying, just make plays happen. going for steals you probably shouldn't be going for, stuff like that. And it can just lead to breakdowns in defense on the back end. So like, I don't remember specifically what their defense looked like. I just remember it wasn't that great. But off the top of my head, my memory, I can't really remember. But just having good defenders does not a good defense make. You know what I'm saying? It's basically the point I was making. You kind of have to have smart backline. That's kind of part of it. Like if you're gonna have a good defense, one of your better defenders has to be a big man to like handle all the backside stuff and protect the rim adequately and kind of call out rotations that you might not see on the front end, because you can do all the ball stopping you want to, but once they get past you, it's whatever goes. Whoever's back there is what you got to deal with. So like that's why I always talk about the fact that perimeter defense doesn't matter as much as interior defense. It just simply doesn't. So you can have as many ball stoppers as you want to, but nobody can stop everybody all the time, and like the offensive player is going to win that situation more often than not. You know, so that's kind of the long and short of it. Like you need at least one good interior defender, and I can't remember who was on that roster or what was going on there. I think so that's part of it. What do I want to see from Cat? How good I think he could be next to Gobert offensively. I think they could fit well. I think people are taking that last game they played a little bit too seriously. That was the first time they played, but Finch has said, and I think it's true, that they're not going to be on the court together as much as they were in the combinations they were. I think they can get some high-low stuff going. I think Cat, I didn't like how perimeter oriented he was in that game. Not necessarily that he was on the perimeter, but the spots he was in on the perimeter and stuff like that, and the things he was doing while he was out there. I think they need to involve those two more in the little action. I really love that action they ran where they passed the ball to Cat in the mid post, and then D'Lo and Gobert ran a two-man game where they ran the screen, and Gobert slipped the screen, D'Lo passed him the ball. I think that's kind of how you're going to maximize that kind of offense. I think you can do the inverse of that. I think you can put D'Lo in the Cat spot in that offense and have Rudy and Cat play some two-man shenanigans and stuff like that. I think they didn't have Gobert in the dunker spot as much as I thought they were going to have him in. They were kind of just filling it out. But I think there's a lot of room to cause havoc, particularly with Cat in the short roll and Rudy kind of being in the dunker spot. Rudy setting off ball screens for Cat or for anybody else on the team, while Cat kind of gets in the post and does his thing and creates a lot of space that way for him to get these one-on-one looks that he hasn't really gotten in the past. I think they can fit well together. It's going to take a while, though. But Cat's touch in the mid-range area and stuff like that, I think it's going to be very beneficial in terms of opening up that space when teams kind of trying to clock things up, to kind of loosen it up a little bit and give some of that high-low stuff. Cat was he was making better passes. He was making better reads than he's generally made. He's still not... He's still a home run ball hitter for better or for worse, and that's just always going to be who he is. But I think if Cat makes smarter decisions passing the ball, I think they can fit together better than people think they can. I think Rudy is a better passer than people gave him credit for, particularly in the short roll. So I'm looking forward to that. They haven't really run any of the horn stuff that they said they were going to run. I think they tried to do it a couple times, but they had a couple of plays where Rudy was at the top of the key and it kind of looked disjointed. And a lot of that is Ant and Cat off ball have to be a little bit better. Jaden wasn't really playing too great either. So like I think the players around them made it look a little more clunkier than it probably will. But I think the winning formula on this team is going to be the Cat and Rudy. I mean, not the Cat and Rudy, the D'Lo and Rudy minutes. I think that's going to probably be the most impactful minutes that this team is going to have, because it's going to be against bench units. And I think those two are going to play better together than people think they are. I really like the way D'Lo looked the preseason. I said that earlier. His jumper looks way better. He's more he's not as like horizontally, like he had a lot of like feet scissoring and like weird stuff he was doing last year that told me that either his legs were uncomfortable or he had an uncomfortable grip on the ball and he was just kind of trying to shoot it in different ways. But his jumpers looked a lot more upright. And the amount of space that Rudy has given him on those screens, from what I've seen, is like he's going to be in that mid-range and he's going to be eating. Like he had so much space on the first bucket of that last game. Like I haven't seen him have that much space in like 4 years. And so like I think they're going to have a lot of games where they're kind of just working off of each other and just terrorizing bench units, even though it didn't look great last game. But they haven't completed a lob or anything like that, but I think D'Lo was just shooting the ball until defenses get used to committing to him, and then he's going to start passing. I think he was throwing a lot of passes unnecessarily in the last game. That's why he had 6 turnovers. Just trying to feel it out and see what Rudy can handle, stuff like that. But he had like 4 assists to Rudy last night in the last game they played, and I think Donovan averaged like less than 1 a game. So like I think Rudy's going to have a bigger offensive impact just by playing with D'Lo. Because, like I said multiple times on the channel, he's one of the best passers in the NBA. I don't care what anybody says. He's one of the best playmakers that we've seen in a minute. In terms of, like, the upper-level playmakers in the NBA, he's one of those people. So I think Rudy's going to benefit from that tremendously. We're all D'Lo truthers here. That's what I'm saying, brother. So, like, that is what it is. I guess I'm preaching to the choir, but I think that he's in line for a great season. And I hope you guys have been paying attention to these contracts that people have been getting. Like I was telling people, they're like, yeah, if D'Lo just takes $18 to $20 million a year, did you see how much money DeAndre Hunter just got? Did you see how much money Kevin Porter Jr. just got? Like, come on, bro. Price of the brick has been gone up, bro. If you asking for D'Lo to take $22 million, you are absolutely out your mind. It just is what it is. The market isn't like that anymore. So I am interested to see what they're going to do, because I do expect him to have a great season. So if he does have a great season, what is the bag going to look like? Is he going to have to go elsewhere? You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of young teams with money to spend. If he can get to Orlando, that might be a little fun. He might not. They might be a first round exit, but it'll be fun. You know what I'm saying? See what OKC talking about. Like there's avenues here. I do want to talk about OKC, particularly my son Jalen Williams was getting busy. I told y'all that boy's a hooper. I truly believe he's going to be a hooper. He's of the archetype. I'm not going to say he's a guy like that, but generally, if you want your team to be successful, you need a big wing that can play make. And he's that guy as far as being a wing that can play make. Like, I'm not going to say he's like a generational talent or anything like that, but if you want a team that's actually successful, you need guys like that. They have him. They have Giddey, even though Giddey can't shoot to save his life. I haven't seen him. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been locked into him, but I think they're building something pretty good. And I'm ready to see them on tomorrow against the Wolves. They're probably gonna go outside, but I'm ready to see him. SGA is coming back. I think he should probably start pushing for a trade. Like I've said often, I'm worried about that brother's knees, and he only got so much time left. He needs to get to somewhere where he can start winning immediately. I'm happy for KPJ. You looking on down here. Hey man. Like he still had his moments last year, and like I said, when he got in trouble, when he got arrested when he was on the Cavs, they say he was in Mahoney County. I live in Mahoney County. Like if you're an NBA player with millions of dollars, there's no reason you should be anywhere near here. Like this, I've made the analogy like you could say like, oh, why was this person in this area of Chicago, or why was he in this area of Atlanta and stuff like that, and like yeah, that's true, but like. Particularly like in Chicago, you have really bad areas next to really nice areas, and you can see how somebody can kind of end up in the wrong part of town or stuff like that. But down here in Mahoney County, everything is trash down here. Like there was no reason for him to be anywhere near here. Cleveland is an hour away from Mahoney County. Like there was no reason he should have been down here. So I was extremely worried about like the decisions he was making and the people he was surrounding himself with. Like what reason could he possibly have to be down here? You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that he got his money, even though it wasn't really, I think the first year is guaranteed, and every year after that, they're like, you got to show us that you're actually serious about this. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Green has been looking incredible. So with that said, I think they might think that KPJ is a point guard. I think he's still a little too unserious with the ball to be like a full-time point guard, because he's still a dancey kind of tween kind of guy. He has a little between the back, he does behind the back, and it's kind of, he doesn't have the urgency you will want from your point guard. He's extremely talented, but he needs to get more serious. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully he will be able to do that. Hopefully that bag actually helps him change his perspective as opposed to sending him down in another spiral. We'll see. But I have faith that he'll be a good basketball player if he can keep his head on straight. Giddey shooting's been better with Chip Ingle on the team. Yeah. Like I said, I haven't been tracking it. Like I've seen it, but like I haven't been like locked in. Yeah, it could, KBJ's contract could be a steal if he is like with the Isaac point. Like at a point, like of course the talent is there, but like, do you want a destructive presence in your locker room? He hasn't been one so far, but like he's had his moments last year where he left the game early and stuff like that. Like you never know how money can affect people. So like hopefully he is not a person that responds negatively to having more money at his disposal and kind of, you know, I don't think he will be. I don't wish that on anybody. I hope he figures it out and stuff like that. But, you know, there's still some questions. But yes, in terms of Chip England, like that's another thing that I wanted to make a video about that I just couldn't. Like I wanted to talk about OKC and how them acquiring Chip England was probably one of the best moves of the offseason. Like I wanted to talk about all that stuff, but like I'm just physically not able to like consistently get in front of this camera and just talk to y'all. Y'all see I'm got a death grip on my neck because I got a lot of tension right now, so I'm just trying to work it out. So I'm gonna be getting off pretty soon, get my TENS unit going, you know what I'm saying, get this stem going, and hopefully I feel pretty decent later on. But my hand is numb. But it's all good. This game about to start in 7 minutes. Y'all got anything else we can talk about it, but I'm gonna be getting off pretty soon. I appreciate y'all for showing up for sure. Hopefully, like I said at the beginning of the video, I can get more of the short form content going. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying. They might be in the form of shorts. They might be 100 seconds. Just talking about people, watching a little film, talking about what I see, strengths, weaknesses, stuff like that. See, I'm not going to like rank anybody or anything like that. I think the idea was like 100 players, 100 seconds, 100 NBA players, something like that. That's way too many players. But just that kind of thing where I stand here for about 60 seconds to a minute and just tell y'all about stuff. But I see y'all. Dan, brother, you take it easy too. Everybody else, appreciate the well wishes. I will be, you know what I'm saying, back when I can. You know what I'm saying, just so this channel don't fade into Bolivian, you know what I'm saying. Shout out to Mike Tyson. But I appreciate y'all showing up, asking some questions, you know what I'm saying. We had a little fun. But anything else, if it ain't nothing else, I see y'all when I see y'all. I'm gonna give y'all like a minute. And I do know that it had to be 2 minutes because the chat and the video are not, you know, 1-to-1 in seconds. Let's see. Somebody like to tweet. All right, brother. Appreciate you, 91. Dan, you know what I'm saying? Miles for showing up, you know what I'm saying? We're scroll through this thing. Area Man. Area Man, the remix of Florida Man. He's so mysterious. He just said, I'm in an area causing havoc. You ain't gonna be able to trace me. I'm just gonna be out here. But yeah, I see y'all. Let me turn this off. Till next time, people.